Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's definitely not one that I thought that I was going to be doing, but I felt like some people might be interested and I wanted to kind of give my point of view. So just to kind of give you a backstory before I begin the real story, ever since COVID hit, our family, we've been cautious, but not super cautious. We haven't been completely locked down. Once things here in Texas started opening in July, I started going back to the gym. The kids went to back to school in person in August. I talked to the pediatrician, I talked to my medical friends, and there really wasn't any big concern with me and my family, just because we do not have any underlying health conditions that we know of. We all are very, very healthy, and we made the decision that for our family that we were going to, be cautious, wear masks, wash hands, social distance, but that we are still going to live somewhat of a normal life. So I was going back to work 3 times a week. Like I said, I was going to the gym 6 days a week and trying to social distance as much as possible. But when you're in a workout class and you're kind of moving around, it was challenging. But again, it was a risk that I was willing to take because I felt like I was healthy and that if I were to get COVID, it wasn't going to be detrimental to me or our family's health. So right after Thanksgiving, we did have my sister-in-law over with her kids, and then we had a friend over as well, and then we had my family. So we had about 9 people over. That weekend after Thanksgiving, my daughter started running a fever and started getting kind of like chills and everything. So gave her Tylenol because I had heard that ibuprofen, if you do have COVID, ibuprofen doesn't really react well. So I gave her Tylenol. She broke her fever. She literally ran a fever for 4 days, 4 hours, broke her fever. I took her to the urgent care. She was tested for the flu and COVID and came back negative for both of them. So the doctor said, if she does not run a fever for 24 hours without the help of medication, she can go back to school on Monday. Well, she literally broke her fever at like 8:30 on Saturday morning and did not have any other symptom, did not run a fever at all. That was it. So she went back to school on Monday because we thought, well, it's some kind of cold maybe, whatever it is. It seemed to run its course. So she went back to school on Monday. Well, Monday I went and worked out and it was arm day. And I came home and felt great, felt normal. And then as the day progressed, I started to have body aches, but they were really in my legs. My hips, my thighs were just aching. And I kept thinking, oh, it's just because I worked out. And then towards the end of the day, I realized I worked out my arms. I had not worked out prior to Thanksgiving. So there wasn't anything that I had done that would make me sore. And then Monday night, the 30th of November, I started running a fever. And so I was like, oh crap. Again, kind of thinking that hopefully it was just the flu. Went on Tuesday to get tested and came back positive. Or I'm sorry, it didn't come back positive. I did the long test. Well, my husband came home Tuesday and started feeling yucky. And he went on Wednesday and they called us and said that he was positive. So we both knew, I assumed at that point if he was positive that I was also positive as well. I ran a fever Monday night, Tuesday and Wednesday, and it was a very low grade fever. It never got more than 100.4. But even when it was like 99.8, I still felt feverish. I still felt achy. I still felt chilled. I still felt as though I was running a fever. But I didn't have a cough. My nose was stuffed up, but it was just really the aches and the fever until about Wednesday. My son started getting a dry cough on Wednesday. My husband started getting a cough and he was running a fever as well. My daughter never showed any symptoms other than the 4 hours that she had a fever on Saturday, was completely fine. My son had one day on Thursday where he started the cough and then he felt a little run down, but that was it. He was better on Friday and then continued his cough and then it ran for a couple days and he was fine. I broke my fever on Wednesday And then on Thursday, I started having my cough. I lost my sense of smell and taste. So it was weird how every day it kind of progressed to a new thing. It was like once I got over one hump, I broke my fever, a new symptom would show up. So it was just very, very odd. So lost my sense of taste and smell, which I always had wondered what it would be like. Like, would you really know? Did it like slowly go away? It was like literally all of a sudden there was an on and off switch. All of a sudden I could taste, and then all of a sudden I couldn't. So it is very drastic. It's not a symptom that you would overlook. It's definitely a symptom that you would be like, okay, yeah. I ended up burning bacon for the first time because I couldn't smell it. And that's how I knew. I was like, I can't even smell the bacon. How in the world is it burning? And then when I started eating the bacon and I realized that I couldn't taste it at all, it was literally like chewing leather. There was no taste. I was like, oh, this is what it feels like. So if you ever had questions about the smell or sense of taste, it is not something that you will overlook. It will be a very without a hesitation, oh yeah, I can't smell or taste. So if you're worried about that or whatever, it's definitely one of the true signs of COVID, but it's not a subtle kind of thing. It's very drastic and you will know when it happens. So did that. I started feeling better. And overall, I never felt miserable. It wasn't like the flu where it kicks you down. I never was tied to the couch, dreading having to go to the bathroom or get up and eat or anything like that. I still made eggs every morning, bacon. My appetite, I lost appetite or whatever. So I was really kind of forcing myself. And especially after I lost my sense of taste, the desire just kind of left. But I baked cookies, chocolate chip cookies. So there wasn't ever a time where I was so miserable. It just was just kind of this crappy feeling, just like, meh, I don't feel good or whatever. Where mine got, I wouldn't say bad, but where it was the worst part for me was on Saturday, that Saturday after I started exhibiting symptoms, which would have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 days afterwards. That's where I started getting the tightness in my chest. And it wasn't really a shortness of breath. The best way to describe it is, if you've ever had days where you're like tired and you keep yawning, like you're like, I kind of feel tired, but I just keep yawning. And now that I'm talking about yawning, I want to yawn. It's like you have to like breathe in and then you catch your breath and you feel fine, but then you're just like continuing yawning. That's what I felt for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all last week. So today is day, let me see. Today is the 12th. 13th day after I first started symptoms. This is the first day. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I went 7 days with this tightness, with a shortness of breath. And that by far was the worst thing. And it wasn't that I couldn't breathe. I kept catching my breath. It wasn't like I was out of breath. It was just this weird tightening in my chest and this constant desire to yawn to try to get more oxygen. And that's the only way I could describe it. I got a chest x-ray on Monday, a week after, 7 days after I started the symptoms, just because I was like, I just want to make sure. And it was fine. I didn't have any fluid or COVID pneumonia or anything like that. I did have a little bruising on my right lung. They said that was normal, obviously, because I've been coughing. And so there was no concern. But today is the first day that I don't have any tightness in the chest. I don't feel like I have to yawn excessively. I feel like my oxygen is good. So yeah. Good times. But that was definitely by far the worst symptom, just because it's that anxiety feeling of, is it going to turn into pneumonia? Is this going to be a complication? I had read that COVID sometimes causes blood clots in the lungs. So for whatever reason, and I know this is a little TMI, but I had like gas feelings in my chest. And just those sharp pains. And it would change. It wasn't just one area or whatever. But I started, getting worried because I'm like, what happened if that is a blood clot, whatever. So it just was the overall anxiety that was the worst symptom, definitely. And then the second worst symptom was the fatigue. Up until I would say Wednesday, I did go back to work 7 days after I started symptoms. which was today's Saturday. So this past Monday, I went back to work, and I'm working from home because obviously I'm quarantined. Our whole family's quarantined. The kids can't go to school, all that stuff. So I still did my normal job. I didn't feel overly tired. It's just this drained feeling. It's not like I wanted to take a nap throughout the day. It just was this perpetual fatigue. And then finally Wednesday, I started feeling a little bit better. Thursday, as far as fatigue wise. But yesterday, Friday, was the first day that I actually did anything physical. I cleaned my bathroom, I vacuumed, I did all the laundry, and I was a little winded, but I felt fine. Like I felt like myself, just a little winded. Like I was just exerting myself a little bit, but I didn't feel like I couldn't catch my breath. I didn't feel like I was depleting oxygen or anything like that. I just felt a little winded. But like I said, today I feel like myself. 13 days later, I finally feel like myself. I do not have, my nose is still a little stuffy, so that's the only other symptom other than the no smell and no taste. The loss of taste, even though I haven't gotten it back, really hasn't bothered me. So my husband never had the shortness of breath. He had the cough, and then his fatigue was much longer than mine. So he literally, it took him, I would say about up until yesterday to really start feeling energized to do anything. He was literally on the couch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, and just tired, which is not like him. He's ADD, he's got to keep moving. So the fact that he was on the couch and just watching endless amounts of TV was out of norm for him, or out of character for him. So, but just thankful that we got through it, that none of us had any symptoms. My sister-in-law did end up getting it, and her whole household did, but no symptoms. They never ran fevers. And it was just, the weirdest thing about it is it seems like everybody has different symptoms. So my two kids and her two kids, resilient. You know, they had a little cough, you know, maybe a little stuffed up nose or whatever, but otherwise it was just another day. Like I said, aside from my daughter running a fever for literally 4 hours, she had no other symptoms. She never got a cough. She never got body ache. She never got a runny nose, nothing. She literally, it was like her body was like, yep, no, we're going to kick this one out. And like I said, my son got a cough. It wasn't even a bad cough. It was just a little dry cough or whatever. And he had that one day where he felt a little bit more tired, and then that was it. So kids are resilient. They are dying to go back to school. They are begging. They can't go back to school until next Tuesday just because the school wants to make sure that we are clearly past the 14-day, so the 14-day, you know, thing or whatever, because I did not get them tested because there was no point. I mean, they're in the same household. They were showing symptoms. We're just going to go with it's most likely they had COVID. So, but again, just wanted to give you my perspective. And sometimes it just helps knowing that somebody else made it out, that yes, it sucked, and yes, I don't want to have it again, and yes, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but at the same time, we made it out on the end. So just giving you a different perspective and kind of what to expect, which you can't plan for that because it literally has different symptoms for everybody. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you have food on hand, particularly like chicken noodle soup or bone broth. I've been eating a heck of a lot of Jell-O just because I like the way it feels in my mouth. Can't taste it, but I like the way it feels. And just eating healthy, you know, just taking care of yourself. The only other thing that I can say without a shadow of a doubt of a tip is don't push yourself. If you do end up getting it and you do end up having symptoms, let your body take care of itself. Do not feel like you have to do anything. Because on the days that I would decide to do a load of laundry or unload the dishwasher or whatever, it was like the rest of the day I was on the couch. So you'll know when you start feeling better. Don't push yourself, kind of ease back into it. That's the only tip that I would give. And do your research. Figure out what's best for you and your family if you do get it. Definitely talk to your doctor, figure out what's right for you. I normally say, hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is a sucky video. Never thought that I would end up doing it, but again, just want to give you guys a different perspective. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. If you want to leave any comments about your experience, please do that so other people can know. But hopefully you guys take care. Hopefully you don't get it. Be safe. Until next time, bye.